last evening brought to consciousness something that Adya wrote in My Secret is Silence. Somebody almost always reads it at retreat, and I just wanted to read this to start from our teacher Adyashanti. A tendency to shine. If you prefer smoke over fire, then get up now and leave. For I do not intend to perfume your mind's clothing with more sooty knowledge. No, I have something else in mind. Today I hold a flame in my left hand and a sword in my right. There will be no damage control today. For God is in a mood to plunder your riches and fling you nakedly into such breathtaking poverty that all that will be left of you will be a tendency to shine. So don't just sit around this flame, choking on your own mind. This is no campfire song to mindlessly mantra yourself to sleep with. Jump now into the space between thoughts and exit this dream before I burn the damn place down. Radiant mind. You know, it's like, I always think of it, it's like water trying really, really, really nobly hard to be wetness. I can't see your face, Timo. And it'd be like water going to retreat, believing it's so dry, and it will be bestowed with wetness somehow through some plant medicine or this, that, or the other thing, some guru that'll have just the right transmission, the right experience, the right set of beliefs, the right past, the right future. Where is my wetness? Where is it? It's really like that. It's honestly like that. And when you see it, when that which is, that which I comes from, sees itself as lovingness, it sees it everywhere. Lovingness, lovingness, lovingness is, it's love. Our nature is love, like wetness is to water. It's not something you can extricate out. It's inextricable. It's same. That's the nature of consciousness. That's the nature of it. Love. So we can be certain. You know, there's the referencing. Referencing. I mean, we're sitting down at the finest meal we've ever had, and we're referencing the past meals that we've had that resemble the finest meal that we've ever had. We're referencing. Forward, backward, into the intellect, especially in the West. So we're staring at the most transmission of a garden, of a flower, of a tree, of a bird, and it's like, I can't wait to look that up in my bird book when I get back to the condo, because I'm sure that's a really cool bird that I've never seen before. To referencing. And I get it, because when that referencing falls out, you're flung nakedly into poverty, as Adya says. It's naked. He's not joking. It's a poverty of knowing. You don't get to know. Nobody gets to know. Nobody gets to be enlightened. Nobody gets to get the certificate. I am wetness. It just doesn't work that way. There's nobody left. We can only be it. We can only be what we are. We can't reference it or save it away for a rainy day when we need some love. We can only be it because that's what we are. Water can only be wet. It can't manufacture wetness, co-create wetness. Funny, huh? The big co-creation plan. Yeah. It's naked of the conceptual referencing, conceptual identifying, conceptual concepts as the ground, which we've all been schooled in, to have concepts be the fundamental thing. I think, therefore I am. Really? I don't think so. But that's in, it's in there. I mean, think about it. Get our ducks in a row. I mean, like Sharon was saying, it's so innocent. I mean, I don't think any one of us doesn't see, we see how vulnerable nakedness is. So the compassion is like the wetness as well. It's inherent. And if it's not, ouch, because it's, that's the allegiance to the commenting of, I'm not lovable, I'm not good enough, I'm not doing it right. The inner critic is so strong in the psyche. Whew. I'm failing. I've been at it for so long. Oh, look at me. If that is in place as our belief system, it makes you want to weep, doesn't it? It makes me want to weep. That belief system is why we go to war. It's why we go to war. It's like Sharon said, it's where all the violence is. And the dividing out, the dividing out, the dividing out. Everyone else has wetness, but surely not me. Surely not. And I am continuously amazed, really, how difficult, challenging, just from who I talk to and what I see, and it's so challenging for people they get the interconnectedness, and oneness is on the airwaves, right? And you can kind of just even intellectually be like, okay, well, there can't ever really be anything causing anything else because everything arises interdependently. I mean, you can kind of grok that. But what about somebody can be swimming in that and still be listening to how they're not worthy of it? I mean, it's strong. It's a strong one. So that referencing, the direct experience is experienced directly. And then, I mean, Dr. Hawkins used to say 1/10,000th of a second is all you've got before the referencing begins. That's that. This is how it strengthens the beliefs about me, and da-da-da. This is how I need to move in order to stay me, and all of that stuff. Because when all of that is seen through, dropped, surrendered, nakedly flung, reality is sobering. The levels of cotton numbingness, I always felt like somebody had stripped, 15,000 layers of cotton batting off of me, and it was just like, whoa, reality, whoa. And that takes some time to, maybe not for some of you. I know there are many awakenings now that are very easy. But there's still going to be some adjustment because it will erode down to the very roots of identity. Even if it's a gentle tide, it will erode. That's it. That's love. So we put on the schedule individual silent time in nature. And I would encourage when and if you decide to join in on that offering, that invitation, that you begin to notice the referencing in contrast to the experiencing, the PhD in beekeeping and eating honey. Because we are that. But we are in a room with the curtains closed and pretending the sun isn't shining. And, we just don't get to anymore. We just really don't get to do that anymore. You come to a retreat like this with teachers in a lineage that is as fierce as the thing that I just read, piece of writing that I just read. You're here for a reason. Flame in the left, sword in the right. It includes I always had the hope and the misperception of, perfection, human perfection, I'm Aquarian. Human perfection and Kuan Lin on a lily pad, and it's never going to be must or fussed. And, I pulled Kali. I didn't really have a choice. That wasn't my choosing. Off with your head, she said. You are mine. It's a fierce time, is it not? Breaking down to break through. That's the Kali Yuga. Breaking down to break through. Stripping oneself and nakedly jumping now into the space between thoughts. Between I can't, I know, woulda, shoulda, coulda, all the stuff. It's innocent, and it's vulnerable, and it's not true. It's not true. We have a tendency to shine. Radiant. And a lot of the, Bible verses are sort of outdated language because they were translated through Greek, but let your light so shine before men. Illuminate the community you find in front of you and within you. Within you. Because we're never going to get the superego, the inner critic, the deep core of the ego structure that is part of the collective belief system for millennia, to relax by telling it to shut up, get away, go away, I have no room for you. What responds to that? Nothing responds to that. Oh, I see you. I see you. I cut you. Sure, I am here. I am here. I am here. I am here. Here I am. We can all feel that, can't we? It's so prevalent. It's so prevalent. So we have can you believe this good fortune? Like sharing gratitude. We are together in this, number one. We have context for what's happening. So many people have no idea what's happening as the ship is going off the mystic edge, plunging into complete dissolution, like the caterpillar getting ready to be the butterfly. But we do have context, and we have each other, and whether we've had a glimpse, an abiding, I don't care. You're here. You're here. This is where you are. So this is for us. This is for us. It's not in a way of like, we are the people who have the one knowing and now we will save the world. Come on, we know better than that, right? We somehow have fallen into recognition and remembering this lifetime. And now we gotta step in. Go. Jump now, he says. Jump now. We can't really You know, I remember going to an Aji retreat one time and him saying, you can get away with inauthenticity a little bit at the beginning. But the closer you get to the fire, the flame, no. It hurts. I mean, it's too painful. It's just way too painful. So, now is the time. And I can remember sitting in retreat with Sharon and just listening, like almost like a mantra. It's what you've always wanted, sweetheart. It's what you've always wanted. Because there can be some terror. There was here. I'm just saying. I don't know if anybody else is terrified at the deathless death, the third gate. Okay, there really is not going to be a me. I get that. That felt like terror in my nervous system. I was in the class 5 headed for the waterfall, and I knew there was never going to, no turning back, but it was like, you know, fight or flight. And so a lot of us have had trauma. So that fight or flight switch is just like, rather than the vigilance Sharon was so beautifully pointing us to last night, it's a different kind of vigilance in the fight or flight nervous system. It's like I am not safe. I am not safe. There's so many beautiful ways these days. Beautiful Adevi helps us with our nervous systems, and there's so many people who can, and polyvagal theory, and I mean, it's showing up as we need it. It's showing up as we need it. Like, okay, we got to step out of fight or flight. We are, I guess, held. We're home. We're home. We are home. I am here. Here I am. I am home. I am home. I am home. I am home. I am an expression of and as love. Like water is wet. I can't be far from it. I can't be away from it. I can't give it, receive it, achieve it, effort it, defend against it, run from it, compensate for the lack of it, rewarded, deserved. No. The words true nature are the actuality. It's the true nature. It's the nature of beingness, the actual nature of it. And whatever pronoun you use, it's so far beyond gender, but whatever. She's waiting to give us what she has to give. She's literally every day, every minute. No, I think I'll choose war. I think I'll choose the division and unsafety. I mean, I'm making fun of it, but I know it's a precious, vulnerable thing. I get it. I mean, just in our bodies alone, these bodies, 500 million new cells per day, 500 million new cells showing up for active duty. Give me an assignment. And we go, just the same old conditioning, please. I have an ache right here, and I don't like this kind of food, and you know. And they're like, okay, I guess so. If I have to do the same old thing, I will. No. She's just literally pouring it out all the time. All the time. In every situation. Our minds have to, like, the intellectual mind can only serve that. It cannot understand it. It can only serve that. Got to give it down, give it to the heart. The heart understands it heart's just waiting. And all the stuff nowadays with heart math and all the research they're doing on the heart brain, the actual neural network that exists down here, I mean, we really don't need much of this up here at all. It's like, look right and left, cross the street, okay, good. Yes, we need a little bit of judgment. But, I mean, okay, the stove is hot, don't put your hand on it. But you don't need much. I'm not against the intellect. It's a playground, actually. When it's in service to the heart, it's what a fabulous tool to have in the bag. Look at all this architecture. But when it is telling you who you are, the word tyrant, you used the word tyrant. It's a tyrant. It's a tyrant. So, coming back to not how do we work with that inner critic or the beliefs, the strong conditioning, the referencing, the knee-jerk naming, categorizing, all of that. And all I can say is here, and having worked with a lot of people at this point, if you can find some way that is even if you can't find compassion for it, you're just not there yet. You're just, no, it's driving you crazy. A gentle, easy way, like, maybe I'll get back to you. So it comes in with a thought of like, you just did really crappy and bad, or I didn't like the way she did something, or whatever it is. Maybe I'll get back to you. Maybe something benign, something gentle. If you can bring it in, that sometimes works, but then it kind of becomes, like Sharon was saying, identified with. It becomes the new identity. I'm embracing all of my conditioning. Well, there's a lot. I'm just saying. And it's not just yours, it's everybody's, because as soon as the really strong me thing is gone, it's the collective. I mean, it's not, I'm going to get through all of me and my ancestors and my DNA and da-da-da-da, and then I'm done. I'm good. I'm out. No. It serves itself. And the more empty of a channel, the stronger battery in the flashlight, the more there is to see. And the capacity is like this. It's like this. So something that is, when I first lost my mind, and I mean that literally, here it just had to be done really just like me, because I was just too hard-headed, right? So it's just like, no, you don't get an intellect for a few years, okay, I would say to people, often to Tim, I know it looks like I'm not doing anything, but I'm listening. It just felt like listeningness, 24/7. Just listeningness. Just listening. I'm just listening. Listeningness is. And then the empty fullness, the dancing emptiness, moves in cohesive responsiveness But that can be a challenging shift out of the personal will. Because when the personal will no longer serves the life, person after person after person, and I'm sure Sharon would say the same thing, talks about, like, I just don't want to do anything, I don't know where to go, I don't know what to do, and so, like, they'll create something, like you were saying, out of the boredom, or just like there's nothing happening, and I know there's supposed to be something happening, and it's a challenging little shift there out of personal will, because it feels like a desert of experience. It can feel like a desert of experience. Ash and bone. And not just one time. More than once. You get through the desert, you start having a few insights again, it's like, oh, whew, okay, and back to the naked prairie. At fall retreat, Jim Wells, who some of us have been sat with a lot, said it felt like pruning to him. Like when a plant or a tree needs pruned. It needs pruned. You gotta lop it. That's not serving. I mean, sometimes responsive immediacy is like flow states. But honestly, those are long gone here. I remember flow states. Now it's just is. So if I could encourage, if there is still a lot of chattering and some of it very unkind towards oneself usually, that has to be returned to love. Returned somehow, and your way will be your way. Your way, the way knows the way. Your way will be the way. Because when that really persists, well, it's the impoverishment. It's amazing that that's the hardest thing sometimes to surrender, right? You'd think it'd be the easiest thing to surrender. Like, who needs that? Apparently we all are very devoted to it. Gentle, easy listeningness. I'm here. Here I am. And not much beyond that. Perhaps like a maybe, I'll get back to you, but just something very benign. Because that which we feed, the two wolves, and that which we resist, persists just as much as the thing we're feeding. Resistance is feeding. It's juice, as Dr. Hawkins used to say. We're afraid to give up the juice. And I get why, because the loss of personal will, the loss of me structure, the intellect as a foundational identifier, rather than just a quality of consciousness. No, it's a personal attribute. No, it's a quality of consciousness. Those are, they are disorienting when they drop out of experience. It's disorienting on different levels for different people. But if you have any kind of, I guess let's call it trauma, which who doesn't? We're part of the collective. So that loss of a control center, air traffic control, intellect, meanness, and, referencing. Got it. Let that one in. Nope, that one's got to go to a different airport. Personal will. It's part of it. We get through it. And the more we have context for it, Sangha and teachers to stand with, it moves, it's intelligent. It's like the developmental phases of, personhood. There are phases. It knows the way. But we can be certain. If you're sitting in this room, it's your dharma, man. It's just the way it is. Like our teacher, Dr. Hawkins, said, you're not at a jet boat skiing class. You're at an enlightenment group. It's certain. So do you spend your time hovering around the flame, getting the tips of your wings burned here and there, sticking in a little bit, flying around all battered up from the flame, or just, now's the time. And evoke those who have gone before. Oh my God. I love that about sitting at Vajravidya, how it's just all around. Those who have gone before and are still with us. I love that. We aren't alone in this. Oh, little bit. Oh, a hummingbird. Oh, buddy. Oh, find your way out, bud. Oh. Yes! It jumped. Woo! Into the great beyond. Exactly. It was a perfect example. Bam, bam, bam. No. I'm going to read one more thing and then I'll let you guys have a break. So Sharon's invitation brought that Ajya forward, and then I was thinking, shine, but what's the other shine one that I really love? And Neil Douglas Klotz, I don't know if any of you know him. He has the Abloon Network. He translates the scriptures from the Middle East from the Aramaic into English. So you don't have to go through Greek and all of the other stuff. It's straight from the Aramaic to the English, and it's so exquisite. It's so exquisite. So what we may have heard in our lifetime is, let your light shine before men. This is his translation of that from the Aramaic. Let the light of your being, the consciousness of knowing your real self, radiate and illuminate the human beings you find before you, all being, as well as the community of voices you find within. Let the light of your being, the consciousness of knowing your real self. Radiate and illuminate the human being you find before you, all being, as well as the community of voices you find within. Thank you.